The air was thick with anticipation as Trevor Noah stepped onto the set of The Kelly Clarkson Show, a daytime juggernaut known for its warm, feel-good vibes. Fans tuning in expected the usual mix of laughter, heartfelt moments, and Kelly's signature charm, but what unfolded was anything but ordinary. Trevor, the Emmy-winning comedian and former host of The Daily Show, was there to promote his new children's book, Into the Uncut Grass, a whimsical tale meant to inspire young readers. The audience, buzzing with excitement, had no idea they were about to witness a moment that would spark headlines and fuel social media debates for days. Kelly Clarkson, ever the effervescent host, kicked things off with her trademark karaoke performance, belting out a soulful rendition of Break Up Over Breakfast. The crowd roared, setting the stage for what seemed like a typical episode. Trevor, dressed in a sharp blazer and jeans, flashed his disarming smile as he took his seat, ready to dive into the conversation. The chemistry between him and Kelly was immediate. Two charismatic entertainers, both masters of their craft, riffing effortlessly. But beneath the surface, a subtle tension simmered, unnoticed by most. Kelly, known for her candid and unfiltered style, dove into questions about Trevor's book, his South African roots, and his journey from Johannesburg to global stardom. The audience lapped it up, laughing at Trevor's quick-witted anecdotes about his childhood and his playful jabs at American culture. Yet, as the interview progressed, Kelly's questions grew sharper, probing deeper into Trevor's personal life and his decision to leave The Daily Show. "Why walk away from something so big?" she asked, her tone curious but pointed. Trevor, usually unflappable, seemed caught off guard, his smile tightening just a fraction. He responded with his characteristic humor, deflecting with a quip about needing more time to eat tacos and nap. The audience chuckled, but Kelly pressed further, asking about the pressures of fame and whether he ever felt trapped by his public persona. It was a question that hit a nerve, though Trevor masked it with a laugh. The exchange, while still light on the surface, planted the seeds for what would soon erupt into a fiery confrontation. No one in the studio could have predicted that this seemingly routine interview was about to take a dramatic turn, one that would leave viewers stunned and spark a firestorm of speculation about what really happened between Trevor Noah and Kelly Clarkson on that fateful day. As the conversation deepened, Kelly Clarkson leaned into her role as a host who doesn't shy away from tough questions. Her style, often described as refreshingly authentic, has made her a beloved figure in daytime television, but it also set the stage for the unexpected clash with Trevor Noah. The topic shifted to Trevor's memoir, Born a Crime, and his experiences growing up under apartheid in South Africa. Kelly, visibly moved by his stories, asked about the challenges of navigating identity in a world that often tries to box people in. Trevor's response was thoughtful, detailing how his mixed-race background shaped his worldview and comedic perspective. The audience was captivated, hanging on his every word as he wove humor and poignancy into his answers. But then, Kelly veered into more personal territory, asking about his dating life and past relationships, including his high-profile romance with Minka Kelly. "You've been pretty private about that," she said, her tone playful but probing. "What's it like dating in the spotlight?" The question seemed innocent enough, but Trevor's body language shifted. He sat up straighter, his fingers tapping lightly on the armrest. He deflected with a joke about how his love life was less interesting than people think, but Kelly didn't let up. She referenced rumors about his brief fling with Dua Lipa and asked if the constant media scrutiny ever got to him. The audience laughed, but Trevor's smile faltered, and for a moment, a flicker of irritation crossed his face. He responded diplomatically, saying, "I try to keep my personal life personal, you know. It's hard when everyone's got an opinion." Kelly, perhaps sensing she'd struck a chord, doubled down, asking if he ever felt misunderstood by the media. The question was meant to be empathetic, but it came across as relentless to Trevor, who was clearly uncomfortable. The tension was palpable now, though the audience was still oblivious, caught up in the rhythm of the show. Kelly, unaware of how her persistence was landing, pushed further, suggesting that Trevor's guarded nature might make fans feel disconnected. It was a misstep that would prove costly, as Trevor's patience began to fray, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shock everyone in the room. The atmosphere in the studio shifted subtly as Trevor Noah's discomfort became harder to ignore. Kelly Clarkson, perhaps caught up in the moment, continued to probe, her questions growing more pointed. She brought up Trevor's decision to step away from The Daily Show, framing it as a bold but risky move. "You had the world at your feet," she said, her voice a mix of admiration and curiosity. "What made you walk away from that kind of platform?" Trevor, who had fielded this question countless times, offered a polished response about wanting to explore new creative avenues and spend more time on stand-up comedy. But Kelly wasn't satisfied. She leaned forward, her eyes locked on his, and asked, "Was it really about creativity, or was there something deeper, like, were you burnt out?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Trevor paused, his usual quick wit replaced by a moment of silence that felt endless to the audience. He finally responded, his tone measured but edged with frustration, "Look, Kelly, not every decision is a soap opera. Sometimes you just want to do something different." The audience laughed nervously, sensing the shift in tone. Kelly, undeterred, pressed on, suggesting that Trevor's exit might have been influenced by the intense scrutiny he faced as a black comedian in a polarized political climate. "Did the haters get to you?" she asked, her voice softer but still probing. Trevor's jaw tightened, and he shot back, "I don't let haters run my life, but I'm human. You know, constantly being dissected gets old." The audience gasped softly, the first sign that this wasn't just friendly banter anymore. Kelly, perhaps realizing she'd crossed a line, tried to lighten the mood with a joke about her own struggles with public criticism, but Trevor wasn't having it. He leaned back, his arms crossed, and said, "There's a difference between criticism and being torn apart for who you are." The studio fell quiet, the weight of his words sinking in. Kelly, visibly taken aback, tried to pivot to a lighter topic, but the damage was done. Trevor's frustration was now front and center, and the interview was teetering on the edge of something explosive. The tension reached a boiling point as the interview took a sharp turn into uncharted territory. Kelly Clarkson, perhaps trying to regain control of the conversation, shifted gears to discuss Trevor Noah's new children's book, hoping to steer things back to safer ground. She praised the book's imaginative storytelling and asked Trevor what inspired him to write for kids. Trevor, still visibly rattled from the earlier exchange, gave a curt response about wanting to create something hopeful for the next generation. But Kelly, in her enthusiasm, misstepped again, saying, "It's so different from your usual stuff, less political, less edgy." "Did you want to play it safe?" The question, meant as a compliment, landed like an insult. Trevor's eyes narrowed, and he leaned forward, his voice low but sharp. "Safe, Kelly? Writing for kids isn't safe, it's honest. It's harder to be real with kids than with adults who clap like trained seals for anything you say." The audience gasped audibly, the jab at Kelly's show stinging in its directness. Kelly's smile froze, and for a moment, she seemed at a loss for words. She tried to laugh it off, saying, "Ouch, tell me how you really feel." But the humor fell flat. Trevor, now fully unfiltered, continued, "I'm just saying, people assume kids' books are easy, but they're not. And honestly, I'm tired of people putting me in a box of political, edgy, whatever. I'm more than that." The audience was divided as some clapped in support of Trevor's candor, while others shifted uncomfortably, sensing the interview spiraling out of control. Kelly, clearly rattled but trying to maintain her composure, said, "I get it, Trevor, I do. I didn't mean to box you in." But Trevor wasn't backing down. He shook his head and said, "It's not just you, Kelly. It's everyone. Everyone wants a piece of you, and when you don't give it, they twist it." The studio was now electric with tension, every word a potential spark. Kelly, realizing the interview was slipping away, suggested a commercial break, but Trevor had other plans, and what happened next would leave everyone in the room and viewers at home speechless. In a moment that would define the episode, Trevor Noah made a decision that stunned the studio audience and sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. As Kelly Clarkson signaled for a commercial break, hoping to diffuse the escalating tension, Trevor stood up from his seat, his expression a mix of frustration and resolve. "You know what, Kelly? I am done," he said, his voice calm but firm. The audience gasped, and Kelly's jaw dropped, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Wait, what?" she stammered, trying to process what was happening. Trevor, unclipping his microphone, continued, "I came here to talk about my work, not to be dissected for clicks. I'm not doing this." With that, he walked off the set, leaving Kelly frozen in her chair and the audience in stunned silence. The cameras kept rolling for a few seconds, capturing the raw awkwardness of the moment before cutting to an unplanned commercial break. Backstage, producers scrambled to figure out what had just happened, while Kelly, visibly shaken, tried to regain her composure. The audience, unsure whether this was part of the show or a genuine meltdown, buzzed with whispers and gasps. Social media erupted almost instantly, with clips of the confrontation spreading like wildfire. Hashtags like #TrevorWalksOff and #Kelly Clarkson Show trended within minutes, as fans and critics alike dissected every word of the exchange. Some praised Trevor for standing up for himself, arguing that Kelly's relentless questioning had crossed the line. Others defended Kelly, saying she was just doing her job as a host and that Trevor overreacted. The debate raged online, with ex-posts amplifying the drama, some calling it a career-defining moment for Trevor, while others labeled it a diva move. Meanwhile, the show's producers faced a dilemma: how to address the incident when the broadcast resumed. Kelly, ever the professional, returned after the break with a brief apology, saying, "We got a little heated there, and I'm sorry if I pushed too far." But the damage was done, and the internet was already ablaze with speculation about what had pushed Trevor to such a drastic action. The fallout from Trevor Noah's walk-off was immediate and far-reaching, dominating entertainment news cycles and sparking heated debates across platforms. Fans of the Kelly Clarkson Show were divided, as some felt Kelly had been unfairly ambushed by Trevor's abrupt exit, while others believed she had overstepped by delving too deeply into his personal life. Ex-posts from viewers ranged from sympathetic to scathing, with one user writing, "Kelly's just being real, Trevor needs to chill," while another countered, "Trevor's right to set boundaries. Not every question needs an answer." Media outlets pounced on the story, with headlines like "Trevor Noah storms off Kelly Clarkson Show" and "Kelly Clarkson's interview goes off the rails" plastered across tabloids and websites. Some reports speculated that Trevor's frustration stemmed from lingering resentment about the media's obsession with his personal life, particularly his past relationships with Minka Kelly and Dua Lipa. Others suggested that the real issue was Kelly's insinuation that his children's book was a safe departure from his usual work, a comment that seemed to strike at his creative integrity. Behind the scenes, sources close to the show revealed that Kelly was devastated by the incident, feeling blindsided by Trevor's reaction. She thought they were having a real conversation. An insider told a major outlet she didn't mean to upset him. Meanwhile, Trevor's team remained tight-lipped, issuing only a brief statement. Trevor values authenticity and respects boundaries. He looks forward to continuing to share his work with his fans. The incident also reignited discussions about the pressures of celebrity interviews, with some commentators arguing that hosts like Kelly walk a fine line between engaging their guests and pushing for viral moments. On X, a prominent entertainment blogger posed the question, "Are talk show hosts crossing lines for ratings?" sparking thousands of responses. As the dust settled, both Trevor and Kelly faced scrutiny, her for her interviewing style, him for his dramatic exit. But one thing was clear: this moment would be remembered as one of the most shocking in daytime TV history. In the days following the incident, both Trevor Noah and Kelly Clarkson took steps to address the controversy, though their approaches differed starkly. Kelly, known for her transparency, used the next episode of her show to speak directly to her audience. "I love getting real with my guests, but I never want to make anyone feel disrespected," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "Trevor's an incredible talent, and I wish we could have kept talking." Her heartfelt apology won over some critics, but others felt it didn't go far enough, accusing her of dodging accountability for pushing Trevor too far. On social media, fans rallied around her with hashtags like #WeLoveKelly, praising her for owning the moment. Trevor, meanwhile, chose a more subdued approach, posting a cryptic message on X, "Sometimes you have to walk away to stay true to yourself." The post garnered thousands of likes and retweets, with fans interpreting it as a defense of his decision to leave the set. He also shared a lighthearted video on Instagram, reading from his children's book to a group of kids, signaling that he was moving on from the drama. Behind the scenes, reports emerged that Trevor and Kelly had spoken privately, though neither side confirmed the details of their conversation. Some speculated that the entire incident was a publicity stunt to boost interest in Trevor's book, but those close to the situation dismissed the idea, citing the genuine tension captured on camera. The incident also prompted broader conversations about race, identity, and the expectations placed on public figures like Trevor, who has often spoken about the challenges of being a black comedian in a predominantly white media landscape. On X, a viral thread from a cultural critic argued that Kelly's questions, while well-intentioned, reflected a lack of sensitivity to Trevor's unique experiences. The debate showed no signs of slowing down, as fans and commentators continued to pick apart every moment of the confrontation, from Trevor's pointed remarks to Kelly's stunned reaction. For both stars, the incident was a stark reminder of the high stakes of live television and the fine line between authenticity and overstepping. As the dust settled, the Trevor Noah-Kelly Clarkson confrontation became a cultural touchstone, sparking discussions about boundaries, authenticity, and the role of talk shows in the modern media landscape. The incident was dissected on podcasts, analyzed in think pieces, and memed relentlessly across social media, with gifs of Trevor's mic drop and Kelly's shocked expression becoming instant classics. For Trevor, the walk-off cemented his reputation as a principled artist who refuses to be pigeonholed, even if it meant risking public backlash. His fans praised his courage, while detractors called him oversensitive, arguing that he should have handled the situation with more grace. Kelly, meanwhile, emerged as a polarizing figure. Some saw her as a victim of Trevor's outburst, while others criticized her for pushing too hard for a gotcha moment. The incident also highlighted the evolving nature of talk shows, where hosts are expected to balance entertainment with authenticity in an era of heightened sensitivity. On X, a prominent TV critic summed it up: talk shows thrive on real moments, but real doesn't always mean comfortable. The controversy also boosted interest in Trevor's book, with Into the Uncut Grass climbing bestseller lists in the wake of the drama. Kelly's show, already a ratings powerhouse, saw a surge in viewership as curious fans tuned in to see how she'd address the fallout. Both stars, in their own ways, turned the incident into an opportunity to connect with their audience, as Kelly through vulnerability, Trevor through defiance. As the story faded from the headlines, it left behind a lingering question: where is the line between probing and prying in the world of celebrity interviews? For now, Trevor and Kelly moved forward, their careers intact but their dynamic forever altered by a moment that neither saw coming. The Kelly Clarkson Show continued its run, and Trevor returned to his stand-up roots, but the echoes of that fiery confrontation would resonate for years, a testament to the power of live television to capture raw, unscripted humanity.